Does getting onto stage or on camera scare the hell out of you? I was like that not too long ago. I used to be so nervous. I would be twiddling my fingers and my tongue would feel like it had peanut butter all over it. And my stomach would churn and I could barely breathe, especially as a singer or an actress. It was a nightmare. Today, I'm going to teach you how to get that fixed, and we're going to go through 3 really important steps. After 30 years of working all over the world as a singer, an actress, and a speaker, I can show you how you can get over that fear. If that's you, stay tuned. Good morning, it's 𝐸𝐬𝐧'𝐭, and we are live here in Sydney on Friday, every single Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. That's Sydney time. Now, if that's America for you, you're on Thursday night, and in the UK, it's also Thursday night. So make sure that you hit the bell and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any live trainings. Now, we do this all year. So anyone who is here live gets to ask me a question around the topic of the day. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the live rather, I always have a special giveaway for you. So stay tuned. They're only up here for a few days and then we take these down. So if you want the best of these trainings, make sure you come here live, or if you watch the replay, put #replay. I'm so great to have you here. Now, if you are a little afraid of speaking, you are in the right place. If that's you, please pop it in the comments because I want to see who's here. Give me some love, send me some noise so I can find out how I can help you today. We are going through a few things that are very, very important and very close to my heart. And I'll tell you why before I head over to the comments. When I was a little girl, the biggest thing I ever wanted to do was be on the silver screen in Hollywood with Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire and all those amazing people that had died by the time I was born in those MGM musicals. I dreamed of being a singer and an actress. I dreamed of being up there on the silver screen in all these beautiful costumes and doing fabulous things. There was a fantasy for me, an escapism from the real world and my real life. But what I didn't realize over time is that what I was actually looking for is a self-acceptance, love, and self-expression. I didn't realize that at the time. So it was a very long journey for me, and I was really barking up the wrong trees for a very long time. So today we're going to talk about fear. Now, when I really wanted to do that career at the age of 7, seriously, I was so gung-ho about it. I was so shit scared. I nearly peed my pants anytime anyone spoke to me, let alone having to do an audition, dancing or singing or acrobating or whatever crazy ass thing I was doing at the time. I was scared of my own shadow. I couldn't speak up. I was one of those kids at school that would sit at the back of the class hoping to God the teacher wouldn't call on me or ask me a question because then I'd have to actually stand up and speak. God forbid, because I was so afraid. So what we're talking about today is fear, 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 fear. That's what we're talking about. I want to get you out of that negative loop because it's just a negative loop. That's all it is. When I had practiced fear thousands and thousands and thousands of times, I had it so well rehearsed and so well in my body that my body knew even at the thought of being on camera or on stage, I would completely go to pieces because I was so well rehearsed at the fear. This is the problem. We're building neural processes in our brain that really make a deep groove, and that deep groove lasts for a long time. Sometimes people die with it. I know people that have gone to their grave with loads of regrets because they didn't face their fears. They didn't say yes to themselves. They didn't get over it. I do not ever want to go through that. I remember being so bad and so out of control that I said to myself, man, when I get over this fear, I will quit because that's like, yes, I conquered it. But then I ended up loving being on stage so much with the mic in my hand and watching all those faces and all those transformations that were happening that I couldn't give up. I wanted to see more of that transformation. I wanted to share what I had learned on my journey, how you could stand in that space and take ownership of it. It was so empowering for a tiny little girl who hid behind her mum's skirts all those years. It was transformative for me. Now, my mission these days as an older woman is to help you have that same transformation. That's what I live and breathe for. And that's why I do everything I do here in the Voice of Confidence, in all of my programs, all of my students around the world, and some of them might be joining us today. So if you've got any questions about what it's like to work with me, you'll get a little taste of what that is today if you've never worked with me before. Now let's jump over to the comments and see who's here joining us today. Hello, Tammy, it's so nice to see you here again. Welcome back and happy 2024. It's so great to have you here. Good morning, Nick. It's so lovely to have you here. Nick is a member of, I think it's Nick from my Voice Club membership, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. And also Chantel from my Voice Club membership. Thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome. Now, if you guys have any questions pertaining to today's content, then always pop it in the chat. Tomorrow at our private Voice Club class, that's a different class and different content, different questions. So I'll see you then. Now, let's go over to fear. I had to figure out, took me a long time, and I want you to really take notes on today because there's going to be a lot to cover. Fear of what? There's always a source, right? We're not born with a fear of public speaking. We're actually born, I think, with a fear of two things. I'll look this up once, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I'm sometimes wrong. I think it's fear of falling, especially falling backwards. So babies will flounder and get all upset when we fall backwards because that's natural, of course, because we could die, basically. And then the fear of, was it loud noises? I think loud noises is the second one. So there's those two fears sort of built in. So they're basically, when you think about it, they're survival techniques because a loud noise, a bang, could mean the mountains falling down, right? Or a lion is coming to get you. And falling backwards could mean that you could fall out of the tree or over a cliff. So that survival, that built-in fear from the amygdala in the brain that's telling you, loud noise could mean danger or falling over could mean danger, is completely okay. The rest of the fears, not so much. I remember I was sitting in an event with one of my high-end speakers, one of my VIPs, and I was watching him speak and taking notes on the way he was using his voice because I do voice rehabilitation as an expert voice coach as well. And when I was watching him and talking to him, the gentleman next to me started to engage and we started to do an exercise together. He told me he had been, I think, 4 rounds. I'm sorry, I don't know the verbiage, and my apologies to the Vietnam vets out there or the vets. He did 4 deployments to Afghanistan, saw heads blown off, saw shrapnel rip through the bodies of the people next to him. It was carnage everywhere. It was a shit fight. And I can't even imagine the fear and the what you have to go through, the courage to get through that situation and get the hell out of there and get back into a safe place, which we're living in more or less. He said to me, I would rather go back to Afghanistan and be shot at any day than get up on that stage in public, speak in front of thousands of people. It's like, you'd rather be shot than be on stage and speak. It's like, boom. That blew my mind. That shows you how big that fear is. So before I go over to the comments again, I'm going to look at what are those fears? And please, if you have a different one, pop it in the chat. The first fear I see, or the most common ones that I see with all of my students and all of my clients around the world, is saying the wrong thing. Now, I say the wrong thing lots of times. I've realized now with age and time that, sometimes we mess up, but I'm going to show you why that's not really applicable to be a fear. And I'm going to show you how to get out of that, what's causing it, and how to stop doing it. I'm not saying stupid things, but sometimes we're not perfectly fluent and eloquent when we speak. And that's okay because we're not all the queen or whatever. Number 2 is fear of messing up and being judged or criticized. This is a big one. I know that this was a big one for me. Number 1 was a big one, forgetting the words, missing a note, forgetting the dance moves, being out of time, whatever the thing is that in front of thousands of people. It's a big fear, and of course, in the entertainment industry, this was built in. You are judged and criticized. Every single time you go to an audition, next, nah, next. You get so many rejections before you get a yes. It's just life. And life is like that. Now, because I've gone through that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of auditions all over the world, I know the game. And the game is life. Life has rejections. We're going to be judged. We're going to be criticized. But again, we've got to get over that fear. And I've got one mindset hack that will absolutely blow that out of the water. And whoops. And where's my 3? Oh, no, I've missed 2. I missed number 2. Forgetting what you wanted to say. See, I messed up and I don't care because I've got more confidence in myself right inside and out, and it doesn't really matter, right? Number 2, forgetting what you wanted to say. This is a really big one too, because there are so many times in my life that I can actually remember it was so stressful that I forgot the words of a song that I have sung literally 1,000 times. I would get on stage and something distracted me or, threw me into fight or flight, and I go, and I literally had nothing to say. I had no idea what I was going to sing. It was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. So I'm going to show you how to get out of that. These are very, very important to eliminate. Now let's go over to the comments and see what people have got to say. Good morning, Nick. And I'm in the Voice Club. Yes, Nick is here. Great to see you guys here. That's fantastic. Woo! Voice Club members in the house. Yay, yay. And good morning. We've got someone from the Voice of Confidence TV coming in. Oh, that's probably Ice. You want to gain confidence? I hate to have such fear. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I hated it too, Tammy. It drove me crazy. And the thing is that I did this, and I'm going to get you out of this today. I beat myself up so badly that sometimes I'd beat myself up for weeks, months, or even years. I'd literally beat myself up. And of course, when you do that, because if you mess up and you beat yourself up, you're going to be making that loop, that neural pathway even stronger over time. We've got to avoid doing that at all costs. So let's go into the 3 hacks today that are really going to change that for all of you. The very first thing that I had to learn was a mindset hack, because the fear starts in the mind. Even though the body keeps the score, you might be 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔, I think his name is. I did a lot of work around trauma in one of my master's degrees in America when I was doing that years ago. And the trauma work really showed me that trauma is stored in the body. But the problem is it starts with a thought or a memory or a trigger of some sort. So, for example, a trigger for us could be a smell. For example, I know it's really weird example, but years ago, my mom used to make me take banana flavored medicine. And for years, I couldn't eat bananas because I was so afraid of this friggin' medicine that would make me gag every single time, that I got afraid of the smell of bananas. It really made me sick because I wanted to gag for whatever reason. Anyway, so when we have that thought or that trigger, yes, your mind will go crazy. And guess what? It's going to trigger something in your body. Now, the fear, the chemicals of the trauma that you've experienced years ago, body. So when we actually just change the mindset and start to reconnect our thoughts into something else, it will change. Let me give you a very clear example. Instead of beating yourself up when you're going on stage or on camera, I want you to do this instead. I want you to say one sentence to yourself and say it over and over and over again until you understand it's not about me. Write it down. That changed my life. I know it sounds super simple, but when you stop putting the friggin' onus on yourself, everything changes. I grew up in the entertainment industry. So unfortunately for us, yes, we are in the spotlight and it is all about us. And we're, have to sing the songs right and we have to hit the notes right and we have to remember everything and run off and change and bring props on. And there's so much to remember in that sort of scenario. You've got a lot going on with your head and you have to do a good performance for the audience. And if you get bad reviews, well, guess what? The show gets shut down and you're out of a job. Or if you do something wrong and you get criticized for it or pulled up by the director, you could be kicked out of the show. It's a very hard situation to be in. It's very difficult to be a performer. And I did that for 35 years full time. So I got bash after bash after bash. Now, when we're speakers, however, or you can use this as singing and acting too, when we're speakers, especially when we're doing presentations for work, it's not about you. It's about something that you're talking about. You're trying to impart knowledge to other people. You're trying to teach them something. You're trying to get a mindset shift of some sort. So they go away with, I got this. I can do that. And they go away with a renewed faith in themselves. That's what you want. It's all about you, not about me. So it doesn't matter if I mess up. It doesn't matter if I have a crazy thought going on in my head. You've got to change the thoughts. Yes, I always do psychology in my classes. The psychology behind the sound is the first module in every single one of my courses and classes. It's because this noggin here is the thing that holds us back the most. Believe me, the thoughts that I had and the neural pathways that I developed since the age of 4 or whatever with fear built in really ruined my life for a very long time. It really threw me off base. I could have been a lot more successful more quickly if I had gotten control of my mindset. So your mindset is first and foremost the thing that you need to work on. Work on your mindset. Get some hypnotherapy if you need to. Work on affirmations, but feeling them. Step into that feeling of confidence and power. Know what your power words are. My power words are, I am confident, inspirational, and playful. When I step into my 3 power words, I feel like the highest and best version of me. What are your 3 power words? What words would you choose to step into? Because if you're stepping into your shadow self, the self that I was years ago, shy and nervous and forgetting things and shaking and beating myself up for months, that's my shadow. That's not me. That's not the highest and best version of me. What's the highest and best version of you? Figure it out and say to yourself, it's not about me. Right now, if I show up at the highest and best version of me, I will be the best instructor, the best trainer, the best leader that I can be. If I show up as my shadow and just shitting all over myself, and excuse all the bombs of swearing today, but I'm really passionate about this, as you can see. If you let that get in the way, you will never be a good speaker, ever. You've got to take care of your mindset and your neural pathways first. There's loads of things that you can do to help you on your way. Now, if you need extra help, I'll show you how to get extra help at the end of the class. Let me go over to the comments and see if there's any comments or questions around this. Yes. And I have so many videos out there. If you're watching this for the first time and you've never, ever met me, hi, I'm Elisa. Welcome to the channel. It's Voice of Confidence TV. Make sure you go to videos and do a search on the topics and the content. There's about 100 videos up there. There's loads and loads and loads of topics, and they're all free. They're all for you. Now, if you want some accountability and support, then you can join a program, but I'll tell you about that later. It's not about me, it's about them. That's exactly right. So Temi, I'm so glad that you did see that in one of my previous videos. It's so important to remember. Now let's move on to number 2, the grounding technique that helps you control your nerves. Now, I was taught, this is very annoying too. I was taught by a classical teacher when I was 14 years old. I'd been begging for singing lessons since I was about 7, but I wasn't allowed because way back then in the thinking of the day in the 70s, they thought that, well, it's true, that children's voices aren't quite ready to do really heavy training until they're about 14 years old and the larynx is fully developed. Understandable. Now, I wouldn't say that that is an applicable rule these days. It's much better to get them singing healthy rather than unhealthy. So, for example, when I'd been learning classical for years and years and years from the age of 14, and then suddenly I think I was about 17 and I was given the job, or rather offered a role in a big rock band, 9-piece rock band on a stage, singing every single weekend live to hundreds of people, I went, hell yeah. I want to do that and I want to get out there and have some experience. And when I told my singing teacher, guess what he said? This was the second singing teacher, my classical teacher. He said, you could be a really amazing opera singer by the time you're 21. So you have to make a choice. It's either me or the band. Guess what I chose? I was out the door. And, 35-year career. I had a really great career. I made a good choice, but here's the thing. Getting back, sorry, went off on a story tangent, but that's okay because I have a point. The point is this. Both of those teachers, extremely experienced, did not teach me this one hack. They did not teach me how to breathe correctly to calm my nerves. They didn't. They taught me to diaphragmatically breathe and support my voice, but they didn't really teach me how to ground and get back into my body. I was still singing in my head. It's like, in fear the whole time, checking out. I don't even remember singing half the competitions I sang in because I was so nervous. I literally checked out. My soul must have been at the back of the room. So let's go through the grounding technique. I want you, wherever you are, sit up nice and straight. If you're on the train or whatever, you can do this later. Sit up nice and straight. I want you to have your ears over your shoulders over your thorax cavity. Now I want you to have your legs at right angles. Now I'm a bit squished here, so I can't really stand up, but I want you to have your legs at right angles. So when you can stand up, it's with no hands. You're using your abdominals a little bit to actually power that movement. Now you're in a very grounded position. From here, we're going to do one more little trick. I want you to put your finger, oops, my camera's gone a bit weird. Hang on. It might reconnect in a minute. There you go. Weird things happen. All right, so put your finger on your sternum. This is the bone that comes down here and goes all the way down to the little, I can't remember what it's called, the xiphoid process. There you go. Put your finger here. Now, you've got your ears over your shoulders already, so you're pretty upright. But now I want you to move this finger 1 centimeter up. So that means that your chest, your sternum rises by that 1 centimeter. And you'll notice that my head lifts up too. Now that's going to make you look a little bit arrogant. Make sure you don't ever put your chin up like that. Now, some people actually do that. I see lots of weird body language stuff going on in my classes. I really do. Some people do that is because they're trying to get away from the people by thinking that tilting their head and looking down their nose like this is going to get them all further away from the people in front of them. It's not conscious, of course, it's unconscious. We have all these weird unconscious behaviors. Like I was teaching somebody in my studio the other day and she was doing this over her family jewels. Sorry about the nails, they're not painted. But she was like doing this over her private parts. And I said, why are you standing like that? And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, that's protection. You're protecting yourself. You're not opening yourself out to the audience. So they're not going to connect with you if you're protecting yourself. And if you do this for a second, put your hands crossed and sort of hold yourself like you're a little bit nervous or anxious. I've actually stopped breathing. You'll notice that it really changes everything. When we don't ground properly, it changes everything. It makes us very constricted. So ears over the shoulders, sternum up, 1 centimeter, adjust your head. Tell me how it feels. Now I want you to do a double whammy here. You're going to wriggle your toes at the same time. I want you to make sure that you keep breathing. Make sure you're breathing. Take 1 second in and 3 seconds out. Wriggle your toes. Do not stop wriggling your toes, and keep that sternum lifted and that chin down. Shoulders back, ears over the shoulders, chest up. Now imagine you're on stage and you're speaking to an audience. Wriggle your toes. Stay grounded. Stay really grounded. Nice deep breath, not from the chest. Ground yourself. Imagine you standing on that stage. You're surveying everybody out there that you're going to change their lives today. That's your job. You're going to stand on that stage looking out to the audience, and you know that even just one person that you reach today, you will change their life. That's your job. Change their mindset. Make them walk away with a renewed faith in themselves. Help them in some way. And you know you can, because you're the expert in your field, just like I'm an expert in mine. We know stuff. We need to impart that knowledge before we die, because every single word that you speak plants a seed of inspiration, a seed of encouragement, a seed of positivity. Every word you speak will affect somebody. I even get letters these days, since Facebook has connected the world, thank God. It's been a wonderful thing, I must say. Some students from 20 years ago have connected with me through Facebook and sent me these massively long messages thanking me profusely for changing their lives. Isn't that amazing? I mean, there's nothing better than having a student have their lives completely transformed because of something that you did or said. It's the most incredible feeling in the world. It helps make you realize that you're here for a reason. You're here to change the world. You're here to change somebody. You're here to help somebody. So the seeds you leave are the trees that grow after you die. You know, you're planting seeds all over the world. So good on you for doing that. That's why you're here. So lift your sternum. Breathe deeply. Wriggle your toes. Ground. Take a breath. And every time you speak, you're speaking from a place of calm confidence. You want to do that. Now, we go much more deeply into that, of course, into our class. This is just touching the surface. But if you want more help with this, I can help you get even deeper. It takes time to practice, but you will get there. Now, let's jump over the comments for this one. Yes, they're absolutely great. There's so many of them, Chantel, and they're absolutely great. And the best thing is this. When we ground and breathe, we can remember everything. All of these things will help you remember. So, for example, if you do that mindset hack that I shared with you, your speaking will become more fluent. You'll be able to be more fully self-expressed. If you do that grounding technique, you'll have so much more control over your nerves, so much more control over your excitement, so much control over the way that you speak. Your speaking will have more presence, have more mindfulness. I use mindfulness a lot in my classes because you have to be mindful when you're speaking. You don't want to say too much and you don't want to say too little. You want to say something just right. The person over in front of you needs to hear something. So make sure that you get that point across clearly and succinctly for them. Now, number 3, the voice hack skill that'll help you sound more confident. Now, here is a very, very simple skill. When we're grounding ourselves, like I've taught you, we're going to actually get back in the body with the voice. Now, I call this exercise Pirates. Pirates is really fun. Now, I don't have a lot of space here, so I can't do it, but I want you to imagine that you're holding a sword. I don't have a sword. I don't have a sword. Okay, I need a sword. But if you imagine you're holding a sword, if you've ever done fencing, you'll know the terms thrust, parry, thrust, parry. So when you're thrusting, you point the pointy end of the sword. I've only done it a few times, as you can tell. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. So when you thrust the sword towards your opponent, you push the sword this way and you jump forward and you hold this hand out of the way, obviously, so you don't get stabbed. I don't know. I didn't really know anything when I was a kid when I was doing this fencing. It was a very sweaty activity too. It was so sweaty. Those little booby things that you had to wear, it was so sweaty. And then when you come back, you go parry, thrust, parry, thrust, parry. So I want you to pretend I do that fencing analogy like a pirate. Pretend that you have a sword like a pirate and you're going to, you're going to actually attack the enemy. There's all these horrible, weird ass alien pirates that are coming to invade your ship, like Pirates of the Caribbean with Johnny Depp. You know, that movie where he's always being invaded by all these baddies and octopus men and all that sort of stuff. So you're trying to attack and defend your beautiful ship and your crew. You're a good pirate with a good intention. So I want you to go like this, and I want you to ground it into the body. I. So we're not going to use thrust parry. We're going to use a glottal attack. And the reason we use a glottal attack, is because it grounds the body. When we get really nervous, especially girls, we tend to go like that. I remember one of my students saying, I was in an elevator. She was saying to me, I was in an elevator with an older, wealthy, very well-to-do couple in a very high-end hotel going up to a meeting. And then she got triggered somehow because of the wealth, because of the status, and because of the age. So they had she had a hierarchy thing going on unconsciously. And so when she opened a conversation in the elevator with these people and asked them to press the button, she went, hi, can you press number 2, please? She made herself smaller to give respect or revere those older people. And then she recounted that and she said, you know what? The good thing is that I picked myself up on that because of your training. And then I realized that I have a little fear, a little trigger around people who are older and wiser than me. So I will make myself smaller so I don't appear arrogant or, as good as them, because I want them to feel in the way that they're feeling and I want to be smaller. It's like, that's weird. But at least she identified that. So when we identify that, she goes into a little girl voice very quickly when she's nervous. We had to ground ourselves. I remember I used to do that with boys too. I used to go, hi. I used to get this silly girly voice on and everything would change. So we've got to ground ourselves. When we get nervous, we tend to go off base a little bit. So ground yourself. Let's do the pirate exercise. Ready? I'm going to stab you with an Ah. My sword is bigger than yours. Hey, I. Now, when you ground your voice like that, it will stay strong. When I was speaking the wrong way, I was speaking very high or I was speaking very low, but I wasn't grounding my voice. I was straining my voice all the time. I wasn't grounding it in my body. This is called embodying the voice. So we want to embody the entire voice and not have it just all up here in our head. Hi, what we're going to do today is blah, blah, blah. We don't want to go off like that. If you stay in your head, you won't be in your body. So all of these activities that we did today, the mindset hack, the grounding technique, and the voice hack, that big, strong, embodied voice is the voice of leadership that you need sometimes. It's the voice that you will have to pull out of your system with strength and courage and bravery, and you can do it. You can absolutely do all of these. So pop in the chat, what was the most valuable part of you today for this today? Was it the mindset hack? Was it the breathing and grounding hack? Or was the voice grounding hack? When we embody the voice, it's going to sound different. Make sure you know what your trigger is so you don't go off into that light, rambly sort of girly tone. You want to actually stabilize the voice. So pop in the chat one more time what it is for you that moved the needle a little bit today. What are you going to remember and take away? And then after, I'm going to wait for those comments to come in. Great, we've got one comment coming in. The grounding hack, fantastic. Anyone else, just share it in the chat. That's fantastic. Now, for anyone who's interested in further training today, I have a special event. Now, I've decided for the whole of February, we're going to have a weekly special. I've got 3 online courses, and I've got 2 or 3 live programs, VIPs, that I work with, so I can help you get to the next level. Now, the most important one that I'm sharing at the moment is called the Voice Club. So you'll see in a moment my assistant Ice is going to put that link in the chat. But here's what it looks like. My site is Kajabi, and that's where all of my online courses are held. But today in the Voice Club, we have 2 meetings a week. One is coached by me live, and it's not a webinar or a live like this. It's actually coaching you and listening to you back, giving you feedback on the way that you sound, giving you feedback on your presentations. Every single month we have a different theme and we cover different content, but we always do feedback for every single student that turns up to that class. And the classes are quite small. We only usually have about 10 people showing up for that class. So you get a lot of personalized attention while the Voice Club is small. So it's best to get in early as a founding member. Now, today I'm going to give you a special discount code. That's this. I want you to write it down. It's January weekly specials. This is not advertised anywhere at present. I'll send it out on email shortly just to remind you. So if you're on an email list, you will get a reminder. But if you're not on our email list, make sure that you join up. Under most of our videos, there'll be little opt-in buttons of some sort to some sort of weekly email or a tip or a video series, a free video series. We've got lots of things going on. So you'll see lots of links where you can join stuff. Now, January weekly specials is the code to get first month half off. So instead of 47, it's half of 47, whatever that is. My math is terrible. So let's go over to the comments. I'll go back to that. And now you will see that underneath on all these platforms, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. You will see that link underneath, and I'll make sure it's clickable under the comments in a second. When I get off this live, I'll make sure it's there for you. The pirate attack. Woohoo! And the voice grounding hack. I love those too. Yeah, that was I love doing live workshops, Chantel, because it's so much fun giving everybody swords and then funny hats and stuff and doing this, because it really changes people. I remember one person, she had the tiniest voice I've ever heard in my life. And I made her stand there and I kept on doing this exercise over and over and over again. And then suddenly she made this massive sound and everyone went, oh, that was so great. And it was so great to see that transformation live in front of everybody. It was so awesome. Yes, be prepared to learn and grow, because that's what we do. A lot of people think that voice work and public speaking presentation training is boring. Not with me, because I have such a myriad of experience. I know that you have to do the deep work to get where you want to go. It's not going to happen by itself, and it's not going to happen with just, affirmations alone or public speaking training alone or voice training alone. When people come into a program with me, the very first couple of weeks ago, oh my God, I had no idea what I was in for, because it's an unraveling. It's like I was describing this to one of my clients last night. I said, what you're doing right now, everyone has a light inside them, like E.T. from home. I'm old, E.T. was wonderful. So we have this light that shines. But the problem is a lot of us are so afraid of the light. Imagine the light is here. We put a bush over it, as they say in the Bible, put a bushel over our light. But if we put a bush over our light, nobody's going to see the light. Well, yes, you're going to hide and you're going to feel a bit safe, but how is that going to get you to where you want to go? It's the opposite of what you need to do. You need to shine. So why on earth would you want to not shine? You're here for a reason. Now, if you're not ready, that's okay. Some people watch me for years. Really, they stalk me for years before they actually book a call or buy a program or something. But when they take the plunge, their lives are never the same. Like, the whole thing just opens up. It's incredible what you can do. I remember one girl, Sue, she said she was deathly afraid of public speaking. And then at the first speaking event, which was only a few weeks after she graduated, she spoke to 600 people live with no notes, no script, nothing, and a microphone. And she loved it. She did great. This is what I love to hear from my students, is how much they transform. That's why, if you can see my little logo up here, it like that, 𝐸𝐧𝐲, it's got a butterfly. The butterfly is the transformation. I've got a butterfly on my shoulder too. It's all about transformation for me. Transformation from anxiety and hiding under that bush to visibility and confidence. That's what it is. We've got to move that needle. If we don't move the needle, you're never going to get to where you want to go. You're going to live a very small, protected life. So ask yourself, when you're 80 and in that rocking chair and looking back over your life, were you happy with that? Did you do everything that you wanted to do? Did you say yes more often? Did you say yes to wonderful opportunities that come your way? Or did you think about every excuse under the sun whether you should say no, why you should say no? Believe me, we've always got 100 excuses as to say no to something, even to offers like this. The offer of help, the offer of lifting you up to the next level. People will say no mostly out of fear of not being able to commit, fear of not having the time, fear of not making it work. There's a million fears, but you won't know until you step into it. So I'm so glad that you're here today. Jumping over the comments one more time. Oh, I love that. Butterflies. Butterflies are absolutely beautiful, transformative creatures. And they have to go through that struggle to build the strength in their wings and their muscles to be able to fly. That's why they have to go through that struggle. And we are exactly the same. Can't wait to see you fly. Can't wait to see you soar. I will see you next time in the Voice Club. We're here every Friday morning, Sydney time, 8:30 a.m. Make sure you hit the bell on YouTube for the notification bell. If you want to join the Voice Club, you've got half off this week only actually. That code expires in 7 days. That's for anyone who's not in there. So any students who are graduating can jump in right now for 1 month and test it out for a 50% off code, just to see what it's all about. And if you love it, I highly recommend that you join for the year, because you get a whole bunch of bonuses and also one-on-one sessions with me. I so look forward to seeing you there. We have You Are So Welcome, Nick. And I look forward to Nick and Chantel. I'll see you at the Voice Club meeting tomorrow morning. We're going to be building a keynote speech from scratch. Super excited, because I'm going to be doing a lot more speaking this year. All right, have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging in there and it's been a long live. I will see you next week. Bye.